What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Service-Based Business Podcast. I'm your host, Ben Moreland, and today we're going to be talking about how you can get started in lawn care, like next year, or kind of whenever. But we're just going to be talking about some basic things about getting started. Yeah, I'm going to try my hardest to actually make it through this without just cracking up the whole time. So let's get straight into it. All right. So the first thing, thing is with any new thing that you're getting into is you just gotta be willing to learn. Learn, do your research. You don't want to do some, I don't know how to, but yeah, learn, right? Learn.
Facts.
Very important. All right, with learning, obviously you want to learn, click on the video. So one thing you should learn about, the next thing I got here is do your market research. Learn about your market. What's the market like? Probably in your own neighborhood is where you're going to get started. So figure out what that market is like. Is it going to be a lot of people who want your services? Not a lot of people. What are the houses and yards like? If you live in a neighborhood, there might be lots of houses that are on hills. You're going to need different equipment for that, as opposed to more flatter yards. The size of the yard, you might want a bigger mower versus a smaller mower. What are backyards like? That kind of also talks about mower sizes. If you have small gates, it's gonna be hard. You're not gonna be able to fit a bigger mower. In the yard. So that's something to think about. What? Another thing to think about is just what's the market like in the neighborhoods around your neighborhood. So not only your own neighborhood, but kind of your general area. Figure out how far you would kind of want to drive, when you're starting out. That's another thing too, which I think I get into later. So I'm not gonna go too deep into figuring out a market right now. Try and figure out depending upon what your neighborhood is like. If you're gonna have a lot of bigger yards or you're in a nicer neighborhood, that's gonna you're gonna have to adjust your prices, as well as again, if you have bigger equipment. With bigger equipment comes more maintenance costs, things like that. Also think about what is company size like. What's your competition like in those neighborhoods? Are you dealing with bigger companies as your competition, or are you dealing with smaller companies? When you're thinking about the your legal stuff. If you're not just a kid, or you're not just when you start to actually make it a business and not so much a side hustle. That's something to. Those are all things to think about when it comes to your market. All right. So next, I want to talk about equipment. Equipment is very important, of course, in the landscaping industry. You're going to be using it every day, so you should probably know a thing or two about it. So mowers, when you're getting started, probably you're going to start with a smaller mower, probably a 20 inch, something along those lines. You can get a used one on Facebook Marketplace. That's probably going to be fine when you're first starting out. You're going to be using it not very often. You might have 5 yards when you're starting out, and to use a small residential push mower is totally fine. You don't need a nice commercial push mower or a bigger mower when you're starting out. You can go used as well, so that your starting costs are lower, and you'll probably be okay. You might not be, that mower might not last you 5-10 years, but it'll last you that first season or two when you're getting started. You're building up your customer base, things like that. Your string trimmer, another very important tool in your toolbox. Of course, you're going to be using that at every yard. I recommend a gas trimmer as opposed to an electric trimmer. Same thing with honestly all your equipment. You don't want to get something that's super crappy as well. I know when last year, I bought a $100 Troy-Bilt gas string trimmer, and granted, I think some of the reason that it kind of stopped working was the gas that I put in it. But buy good equipment. I burned through that $100 string trimmer in a year. I burned right through it. It didn't work at the end of the year. That's probably partly my fault, but still, your cheaper engines that aren't commercial quality, when you're using them all the time, they're going to burn out quicker. That same thing applies to mowers, but I feel in my experience, mowers last longer than your crappy gas string trimmer. Again, you can buy used. Probably not going to last you as long. Might not be as good as a new one, but you can buy used when you're first starting out. Kind of same principles apply to a leaf blower. Your gas ones are going to be better. They're going to be more powerful. It's the same thing with the gas string trimmers. The gas ones are going to be much more powerful than your electrics most of the time, unless you go with the bigger battery electric ones. You don't want to cheap out too much. You can get a cheaper one and you're probably okay, especially when you're smaller and just starting out. But as you grow and expand your business, you're going to want higher quality equipment. And again, buying used, totally fine. Yeah. Gas cans, that's not quite the same kind of equipment, but it's equipment you might want, or you're going to want. You're going to want separate cans, of course, for your mower, gas, and for your string trimmer. Your string trimmers are going to usually run off of mixed fuel. I think one of the reasons that my string trimmer stopped working last year, my cheaper one, I use premixed fuel. Now I don't know how much that I'm going to go out and say that probably has an effect on your engine life. Does it really? That's 100% factual? No, it's just my best guess, to be honest with you. But you want to mix your own fuel. It's going to be better. Premixed fuel isn't as good as mixing your own fuel. Wherever you buy your string trimmer from, you can buy little things of engine oil that mix with a gallon of gas. You can get a 1 gallon gas can, fill it up with your gas, throw your oil in there, give it a shake, and you're good. I recommend getting a 5 gallon gas tank for your mower. You can get a 1 gallon one as well, and so you could just only have to carry the 1 gallon, especially when you're only doing a few yards. But I recommend having a 5 gallon gas tank. And a general rule when it comes to your small engines is non-oxygenated gas is better for your equipment. It's better for its longevity. This is the kind of gas they used it's used in older classic cars. It's going to be harder to find, but if you can find it, I definitely recommend getting it as opposed to just your normal unleaded gas. It's going to cost you a little extra, but when you're only using maybe when you're only using 10 gallons a season or so of fuel, you're fine. It shouldn't break the bank by any means. So again, yeah. So, using used equipment is fine overall. I personally recommend gas powered equipment over electric equipment any day. Don't cheap out too much in your equipment. Don't buy super crappy stuff. Get some gas cans, mix your own fuel, kind of to summarize. Oh, one more thing I want to talk about for equipment is edgers. I just want to go over edgers real quick. I actually just got my first edger this year. I have a steel combi system, which is a motor that you buy, and you can then put different attachments onto it. You can put a string trimmer head on there, basically, or an edger attachment, or a blower, or hedge trimmer, whatever. But an edger is not something you might necessarily need when you're starting off, especially if you're trying to keep your expenses low. As you start to expand, as you get, especially if you get nicer properties, they're probably going to expect edging or want edging done, and so you're going to want to get edgers. An edger, it's going to be kind of the same rules and principles apply to an edger as they would to a string trimmer, and that's just the fuel, and don't cheap out and stuff like that. I totally recommend a stick edger, by the way, not a big push edger. Those exist, but you don't want to carry that thing around. So yeah. All right. Next part is your contact, your social media, those kinds of things. You are definitely going to want an email. It's going to be super easy for people to just email you when you're just you might be using your personal number at this point, and you don't want to post your personal number on social media. But if you create a free, business Gmail, just yourbusiness@gmail.com, totally cool. That works. It gives people a way to contact you other than social media. That's not always the greatest. Having an email where everything just goes is good, and that email is going to help you to create Instagram page or create a TikTok or things like that, or create a a number. Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
Because a lot of older people are on Facebook. What? You about to say that?
That's where I'm going.
I was trying to read that. Couldn't see it. But like a lot of Facebooks have like their like towns
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook. I was just making sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So going off of what he said, creating a Facebook page is definitely something you're going to want to do. A lot of your older people are going to be on Facebook, and they're going to be probably a big part of your target audience for like your customer base. They're going to be a big part of your customer base. And so creating a Facebook page that gives you an online presence, on Facebook is going to be important. Yeah. Creating an Instagram or TikTok, it's not as like needed as a Facebook in my opinion, but
there's a lot
they're nice to have.
On Instagram and Facebook, there's younger people who wouldn't really be interested in hiring people, whereas people on Facebook are looking for ads.
Yeah.
For getting their lawns mowed.
Yeah. Another thing I kind of talked about, like your phone number. I started out just using my own personal number. Like I had someone would email me and they wanted like a service, that I would just like text them on my personal number. I'd like have a place where I just what's your phone number? Let me text you. Now I do have a business number. You can get them free with Google Voice, which I don't know much about, or TextNow, which is like an app, same thing with Google Voice, and you can get a free number. They have like ads and stuff, and they might have like limited call or text ability, but you can like pay for the better version if it's something you're actually going to use. So that's a nice thing to have. Again, something not something you necessarily need, but it's something to think about. Another thing to think about, and again, something that you don't need, but within your first couple years, you're probably going to want to get one, is a website. I didn't start with the website, but my second year, I created a website. I definitely recommend it. It gives you a place where you can list more descriptions about what you do. You can talk about yourself a little more, things of that nature, and you can have forms where people can contact you and give you all their information, so you don't have to go like asking for someone emails you, hey, can I get a mowing quote? You got to go, okay, where do you live? What's your number? You got to ask for all this information. If you have a form, people can go, they can, you can have like, what's your phone number? What's your email? What's your name? Where you at? Give me some information about you, things of that nature. You can put all into a website. I think I paid around $300 for 3 years of web hosting, and that's domain, that's hosting, I think I had to pay for WordPress included in that. And then another thing was like some other different like small security features, like domain name. People can go and look up who owns the domain name, but like for like extra $10 or whatever a year, the website hosting service will actually technically like take the name of who owns the domain, so people can't like look up your address, which for me was something I wanted. So
just starting out, if you are starting a mowing business, I would say you do not have to focus on starting up a whole website and web page or anything like that. But as your business progresses and gets bigger, it is more professional. It's more professional to have a website that people can go and look at.
Yeah,
for
definitely.
all the information, so that you don't have to personally pass it out, but they can go find it themselves.
Yeah. All right. Kind of building off of that is advertising. So kind of what he talked about earlier when we were talking about Facebook is neighborhood groups. So Facebook generally is going to have neighborhood groups where you can join, especially if you live in that oftentimes I think you have to live in the neighborhood that you're joining the group for, but you can join those groups. You can post about your services. Some groups have more rules than others. I know there's like 2 groups for my neighborhood. One of them does not give a crap at all, and the other one is very strict. And so, that very strict one, I can only post on like Saturdays. They have Small Business Saturday, so I can post once a week. But the other one, I can post, whenever. Obviously, I'm not going to go and like spam it. Don't go spamming them. People aren't going to like you if you go and just spam them with your ads. But you can join those groups, kind of follow their rules. Don't be a nuisance. And it's going to give you a good like market right away that you can, advertise to, and people will probably message you about it, or people can share those like posts that you posted. Someone can also share that as well to someone else. Again, kind of building off of that is this app called Nextdoor, which is basically the Facebook neighborhood groups built into its own app. And there's your neighborhood that you live in will have, like a neighborhood on Nextdoor. And so it's all people from your neighborhood posting about, there's tons of different things people post about, oh, there was this crime happened, or, oh, I used this business, or again, people like you advertising your business in that app. People can comment. I definitely recommend using a Nextdoor. I've gotten quite a few clients from there, and people will kind of continue to message you, I've noticed. Normally, like Facebook and stuff, like you'll post, and within a day or two, you'll get most of your like feedback. People who are reaching out to you and stuff within your first day or two. Oh, I drank too much Mountain Dew. But on Nextdoor, I've noticed more people tend to like within more than just like a couple days, people will, hit you up and stuff. So I definitely recommend join Nextdoor, give yourself a presence on there. And again, that's kind of the same thing as Facebook. It's probably going to be like older people. Actually, I take that back. It might not be mostly older people, but again, good place to advertise. And I think Nextdoor does have some sort of a paid advertisement feature that you can use. And with whether it's Nextdoor or whether it's Facebook even, you don't need to buy ads right away. I wouldn't even focus about buying ads right away when you're on a smaller budget. Like that money can be better spent on gas or on equipment. You don't need to go spend money on ads. If you're really having a hard time finding clients, then maybe I would spend like $20, but honestly, you don't even need to do that. Just try to get organic customers, without paying for ads. But there's something that you can use in the future, and you have lots of different like with Facebook ads, you have lots of different customization that you can use for your audience and who that ad is going to. But again, you definitely don't need it. And if you do want to put more effort into ads than just posting, there are definitely other ways that you can do that, or things like flyers, business cards, door hangers. When you're starting out, those things are probably gonna not be worth your money. If you're gonna go with someplace like Vistaprint, for example, you can go on Vistaprint and you can get things like door hangers. You can get things like business cards. You don't need to do that. All right, go on your Google Docs, set that bitch to freaking landscape mode, and make 2 columns, and you have a little half sheet of paper. Is it as great as a door hanger? No, but you know what? It's a start.
The word around.
Yep.
Also, when you start off and you have a low amount of customers, you have to remember that people talk. So if you do a good job, if you do a great job, that person is gonna tell 3 more people. You could get a customer out of that, and they're gonna tell more people, and slowly your business will start to expand. Your customer base will start to expand.
Yeah.
So just trust the process and do your best all the time, no matter what.
Yeah.
And that word will get around, and you'll have customers come to your door in no time.
Yeah. No, that's true. One of the best ways, especially in lawn care, that you will acquire customers is going to be word of mouth. Word of mouth, when it comes to something like lawn care, is oftentimes is very powerful. Some businesses it's more powerful than others, but lawn care is definitely one where you do a really good job, someone really likes you, you're going to be much more likely to get a customer that way. That's going to be a good way to get other customers. You can't, it's not something like ads where you can kind of pay for it and get it, but it's going to definitely be a good thing, especially if you get it from a customer you like. Like if you have a really good customer, someone who, they pay you on time and all these different things, they're just a good customer in general, probably that customer they refer you to, that they tell them about you, chances are that other person's going to be a good customer too, I feel like. And again, with the door, kind of what I was gonna quick say about door hangers is, yeah, I totally recommend just if you're gonna do door hangers of any kind, just some paper. People throw them out anyways, bro. Don't even trip. Don't
get a lot out there. A lot of people are just gonna toss them in the trash because that's what they're used to doing. They just throw it aside. So you need to pass out so many that those small amount of people are gonna see them, but that's a larger amount of people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So again, like with the thing with door hangers is one thing that you can do, which I'll admit, I would personally, it's not would not be my first choice of something to go and do. Is you can go door to door, and not only just like hand the door, like put the door hanger, either on their door or like in the door. You can actually like not knock on the door, introduce yourself, hand them the thing, especially if it's just like a sheet of paper or even your card or like your or like an actual door hanger. And if you do it, you can do it in a way where you can, if you're going to go and knock and introduce yourself, you can ask them if they would like a free quote right then and there, and you can give them a free quote. Depending upon what the yards look like, excuse my dog, depending on what the yards look like, you might be able to just give them a quote, like by just looking at the yard. Like if you can gauge what their backyard looks like without, being creepy, like, you can give them, a quote and literally just stick the thing on the door. That's definitely the way I recommend. Like, some people don't mind getting the door knocked on. Other people are like, please don't. Like, I would really rather you not knock on my door. And so, like, just giving them that quote right away, they don't have to talk to you, is fine. Like, it's great for the customer. I think it's great for you. Again, some people are probably going to prefer, like, they're not going to mind you knocking on their door. That might be something they prefer to actually, like, talk to someone. But, like, a lot of especially, like, your younger crowd, I feel like there's, like, don't bother me by coming and knocking on my door. Just give me the quote. So if it's a yard or like a neighborhood where you can do that kind of a thing, where you just like, kind of go up, you kind of just look around on the sidewalk, look at your yard a little bit. Again, don't be a freaking creep, but just quick what you think it looks like. You can also, if you really want to do the most, you can go on Google Maps and you can look at people's like houses. And sometimes that overhead satellite shot, you can see into their backyard. But if people have things like trees, good luck to you. But it is something you can do. And again, you can choose to knock on the door and actually talk to the people and ask to give them a quote. Or you can, depending upon what the neighborhoods look like, you can give them a quote. And you can always say like, it's a rough quote. It's not 100% because you might get into the yard and there's something in there, right, that you obviously couldn't see. And so that at least lets them know that that quote isn't guaranteed, So that was kind of a way of getting jobs. A couple other ways are things about getting jobs. Like I said earlier, just get in those neighborhood groups, post about yourself, make sure that you're checking your number or your emails regularly, so that you don't miss opportunities. If you see it a week later, chances are, like if it's the springtime, they've already messaged someone else by then. They might give you a day, might give you 2 days to get back to them. But if they don't hear from you, they're going with somebody else. So, like, be quick with it. Get on there. And then some more general kind of tips when it comes to some getting jobs is just to find kind of your basis for your prices. When you're starting out, you're probably not going to be as skilled as a couple years down the road. You're not going to know as much. You're probably not going to have, when it comes to like string trimming, you're not going to probably have a steady of hands. If you're edging, you're not really going to know as much of what you're doing. Things like that. So it's okay to start with a lower price and then increase your prices. If you are worth it, people are going to go with the higher price. Of course, I don't recommend like jumping your price, doubling your price. You're not going to want to do that, over like the course of one, like, into the next season. Like if you charge 20, you're not going to want to charge 40 the next season. But, you can gradually increase your prices as you, begin to improve. And if your prices are super low, people will pay you more than what you are charging. Like if you if you charge like $10 a lawn, someone's going to pay you $20 for that, right? So think about that as well. Again, when it comes to like, the real technical side of things as finding a price, make sure you're covering your costs, your fuel, your labor, and your maintenance. Those are kind of your 3 biggest expenses. You probably won't really have like someone who's maybe helping you, or but you have your own labor. Something to kind of think about. What are you trying? What's your roughly per hour rate you want to be making as a person? Think about yourself as an employee. If you were paying someone to do it, how much would you be paying them? So that's a labor cost. Your cost of maintenance on your equipment. When it comes to like a mower or something, that's usually going to be, your blade, sharpening your blade and your oil and plugs. Those are things you're only going to have to do If you have a lower amount of customers, you're gonna have to do it less frequently, of course. But those are expenses you have, and fuel, of course. String trimmer, gonna be things like your string, right? So make sure you're covering your costs. Like, you should probably won't have any trouble covering your costs, but yeah. And that's really it. We got through that. I feel like I've been really burning through these. I gotta make friggin' bigger, longer episodes apparently. 30 minutes, not bad. For recording time. But anyways, that's really what I've got. So yeah, I don't really think there's anything else that I want to go back and touch on. I think I kind of got everything. Kind of to recap again, make sure you're just be willing to learn. If someone gives you a point or a tip, take it, think about it, and not everything everybody says is a good pointer. Let's be honest. So keep that in mind. But first starting out, at least listen to what someone has to say. Don't be super stubborn, And again, before you even start, go watch some YouTube videos, do some research, follow some guys on TikTok who have been in the industry for a while. Listen to things they're saying. Go read the comments. They make a video talking about something. There's gonna be 1,000 different opinions, but go and look at those opinions. See if there's a general consensus or what the two main sides of it are. Just learn. Just be willing to learn.
When getting started, researching videos, looking stuff up on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, it will help a lot to get an idea for what you're going to do. A big piece of it for you to get your own way of doing things is gonna be to just get out and do it. The more times you physically do it, you will start to get a routine down. It'll start to go faster. It'll start to look better. So don't just focus on watching YouTube videos and think you're gonna become a pro off of that. Watch YouTube videos, learn how to work everything, get some tips and tricks, and then go out and mow a ton of lawns and get that business going strong.
Definitely. Again, you're getting started. Learn your markets a little bit. Kind of do some little bit of market research. Do some equipment research. Get some good equipment. Don't cheap out too much, but also realize you don't have to buy the biggest, newest, mower or trimmer or whatever it is. You don't have to go too crazy, but make sure you're good at buying good equipment. Same thing with your vehicle. Think about your if you're operating out of an SUV or a truck, probably what you're gonna be operating out of is one of those two. If you're buying a vehicle, which you can, but probably if you're just starting, you don't want to go buy a truck. So when you're just starting out, make sure that your vehicle is well maintained. If you're buying a truck, make sure that vehicle has a good maintenance record and it's not a piece of junk. Same thing with any of the other pieces of equipment. Social media and contact stuff. Have an email. Get a Facebook page. Get out there on Facebook. Get out there on Nextdoor. Think about getting out there on Instagram and TikTok, but again, not needed. Website, again, not needed, but something to look at down the line, and potentially a phone number if you think that that's something you want to have right away. Advertising, you don't need to spend a lot of money on advertising right away. Do it for as cheaply as possible, and then go out there and get some jobs, dude. Go out there, figure out what you're gonna, about what you're gonna be charging. Go out there and post. If posting isn't working for you, or not getting any social media traction, go out there and hustle. Go knock door to door. Go put out the flyers, the pieces of paper, your cheapy flyers.
Don't be scared to walk around the neighborhood and knock on people's doors and just ask. That's what happened with me. I was too scared, nervous what people were gonna say. I could have gotten so many more clients just by doing that. Just grow a pair and go out and do it. It's worth it.
Definitely. So yeah, again, that's something I don't really want to go and do, but when you're first starting out, you gotta hustle, So go out there, go knock door to door, be confident with it. A little quick tip for door to door is if you already have a couple clients and you're in that neighborhood of where one of your clients is at, do some name dropping. Hey, I just went and I was mowing Bob's Lawn over there. I do it, every week. I was wondering if I could give you a quick quote today for what something that would look like for your property. And yeah, like name drop, they're gonna already trust you a little bit, especially if they know that person. Like if they know Bob, and they at least are maybe kind of friends with Bob. Like, oh, you my Bob's Lawn, okay, a little bit of trust built instantly. So those are kind of my that's a summary. That's everything I've got for when you're first getting started. If you have any questions, leave them below in the comments. I will happily get back to you. Next week, pretty sure next week, we're going to have my boy Marquand on. He's going to come on, talk about DJing. So that'll be really cool. It'll be my first ever guest. So I hope second ever guest, I guess.
Wow, it's like that.
No, but I'm about to have my boy Marquand on. That'll be a really good episode, hopefully. And that's what I've got for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe if you want some more content coming. Yeah. Not sponsored by Mountain Dew, but anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'll see you guys next week.
Peace.
Peace.